Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are doing awesome today. I apologize if I sound a bit nasally. I'm pretty sick. I have a pretty bad head cold where I'm pretty stuffed up. Anyway, before I get started on today's devotional, just a reminder to people that I'm only going to be doing videos for a little while anyway, for the next little while, probably 2 or 3 times a week. So probably Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Friday, depending on what the schedule's like, just because there isn't as much, I guess, traffic flow that would call for doing daily devotional videos. And so until things kind of pick up a little bit, I'm going to be probably doing it more 2 or 3 times a week, which is totally fine. It gives me room to do a bit more topics too. That being said, as well, I'm going to continue doing Q&A. Yesterday or last Saturday, it was canceled. Usually, I give it about 15-20 minutes, and if no one shows or starts asking questions, I usually cancel. And so no one showed, so we canceled it. So it should be going back up again next Saturday. I'll be kind of deciding on the time for that. Anyway, getting into it, today's devotional, I want to talk about what is the best way to evangelize to people. And I was thinking about this kind of on the car ride home quite a bit. And the first verse that kind of came to mind, and it's not necessarily in context of what I'm talking about, but it definitely has to do with what I'm talking about, is in James 2:17. It talks about faith without works is dead. And so when I think about the best way to evangelize, I don't think it's preaching. I don't think it's standing up on a milk crate and yelling at people, telling them they're all going to hell. I don't think it's shoving a Bible down people's throats. I don't think, people know what the gospel is, or most people are very well aware of it anyways. And the best way I think that someone that claims to be a Christ follower can evangelize doesn't have to do with words at all. It's this famous quote that I kind of live by that says, preach the gospel to the world, and if necessary, use words. And so it's like, some of you might be like, well, what does that mean? Well, what that means is that our actions prove far greater merit to people who don't know Christ than us just saying a bunch of fancy words. Or preaching at them with the gospel. Now, does that mean we shouldn't talk to people about Jesus? Absolutely not. I think that there's definitely a time and place for us to talk to people about Jesus. But what I'm trying to say here is if your life, in your actions, and the way you live your life from Monday to Friday, I'm not talking about Sunday, I'm talking about Monday to Friday, the way you interact with people and the way you act to your wife or your husband or people you know, does that show Christ to people? Like, is there love in that, or are you just kind of living like everybody else, and so when it comes down to it, the best way to evangelize is really through our actions and how we live our lives, right? Do you help people in need? When you have a friend who isn't a Christian and they call saying, hey, can you help me move? You know, Are you showing up? Or are you telling them that you got to roll your socks on Saturday so you can't help them? Buddy's car broke down, are you going to go help him? Or, that kind of stuff, right? And in our attitudes, not just in our actions, but also in our attitude. Do we have an attitude of love and kindness to people? Because, to be honest with you, if you're someone that says you're a Christ follower, but you're a complete prick, and, you're ignorant, arrogant, and very judgmental and things like that, honestly, no one's really going to give a flying crap about what you have to tell them about Jesus, because they don't see any change in your life. You're like, well, you haven't really changed at all, and you're actually a lot worse than I am, so why should I follow your Jesus, right? So our attitudes, our tones of voice, and the way we deal with stuff really, I think, is one of the best forms of evangelism. I think actually one of the greatest things you can that show people Christ is actually when you're going through suffering and how you act through that suffering or the trialing time. You know, like what's the best? Do you just say, "Oh, F God, I'm done with them," and that's it? Like, that's for the last time, and you just kind of storm off, or do you have a peace and calmness about you through trials and through testing times? This weekend was complete, absolute hell for me and Rihanna, and it just seems like it's just one thing after the other with me and Rihanna, where we just keep getting hit with trials left, right, and center all the time, whether it's financially, whether it's health wise. This weekend we had all the pipes in our house freeze. So we didn't have water Friday afternoon up until about late Sunday afternoon. And it was really difficult. And to boot on that, I got really sick, as you can see with my nasally nose. And so it's just really, really trialing time, and we're having like a little bit of issues with Rihanna's car and stuff. It was just, we're almost at a point where you just kind of want to throw your hands up in the air and just give up, right? But through that weekend and that time, for the most part anyway, there's a few people I messaged that are Christians of mine that I kind of lost my begonias on, but besides that, I was pretty calm, and I kept pretty calm. And even though everything in me wanted to just scream at the top of my lungs, I stayed calm through it. And when it comes to evangelizing, that's the biggest thing actually. I think when it comes to evangelizing is when you have someone that hates you, like an atheist or someone a part of the LGBTQ environment or whatever it is, family member, whatever, someone that truly hates you, and every single time you interact with them, you show them love and respect. That does wonders, man, to people. And it really changes. They're like, why is this person being so nice to me? I'm such a dick to them or whatever, right? And it really changes people's hearts. Love is the only thing that will change this world. And if we can't show love through our daily lives, you have no right in picking up a mic and telling people about Jesus, to be honest. And that's my opinion. If you can't show people love through your daily life, you really have no right preaching Jesus to anybody. Because it talks about that in the Bible. Without love in every circumstance in our lives, we're nothing more than just a resounding gong, a clanging bell, right? You're just making a bunch of noise. And I see it all the time with people where they're like, oh, I'm a Christian, I do this. And then, Monday to Friday, they're sleeping around, they're doing drugs, and they're and just the list goes on, you know what I mean? And so I think the most important form of evangelizing is how we live our lives and how we respond to difficulty in our lives and how we respond to difficult people in our lives. And it can be hard. Don't get me wrong. We're all messed up individuals, and you will have your days where that is not going to happen. Like when this whole shindig happened on the weekend with the water freezing. There's a group of Christian guys that I kind of talk with in a Facebook group, and I just like kind of just exploded in the morning, but I managed to calm down. I just stayed calm and peaceful throughout the rest of the day. But so you're gonna have times where that's just not gonna happen. You may lose it on somebody or whatever it is, but for the most part, through our lives, we need to consistently live a life of love and live a life of compassion and peace. And without that, we really have no right to be talking to people about Jesus if you don't have that in your life, because, well, it's just clear in the Word about that, right? It's if you're this angry, super angry, whatever it is, wrathful person or evil person. It's like, why would you be talking to people about Jesus when you showed no signs of fruit in your life at all? But anyway, so today I want you to kind of examine yourself, and I want you to ask yourself whether you have that kind of fruit in your life. Whether, when you're at work, do people, this is a good test, do people at your work even know you are a Christian? That's a really great test to see, kind of how far your life actions are going, right? Um, that's a pretty good indicator right there. If they don't, they should know. They should know, just by the way you act, people should know you are a Christian. And that's kind of what I'm trying to say here. That's really the end result, is people should know just on the way that you act from Monday to Saturday that you are a Christian. And so examine yourself, and if there's some things that are getting in the way of that, ask God's grace to empower you to change it, right? I know lots of people, you got temper problems, rage problems. Me in particular, one issue I tend to deal with a lot is I use foul language quite a bit. I don't know if that's just the Irish blood in me, but that's something that I find a very hard time trying to dispel that from me. And a lot of the time it's when I'm just super pissed off or angry about something. But, we all have our things, so to speak. And so, but we need to keep that in the back of our minds when we're in public and around people are my actions edifying Christ? And, is what I'm doing loving? And the list goes on, right? So examine yourself today and see what areas you need to change, and ask God's grace to empower you to change those things. But anyways, I'm going to leave it at that for now, guys. If you can pray for me to feel better, because the last thing that I want to be doing is working out on tarmac in the airport like I did today. With being sick, it's really quite difficult. I'm pretty wiped out. We had to put anyway, I'm not going to talk about that because it's kind of messed up. But we put dead bodies on planes a lot of the time, and today we'll just say the person we put on a plane was not a small individual. So that was quite difficult. But so I'm pretty wiped, mentally, physically, just all around. So if you guys can just pray that the Lord just strengthen me and Rihanna financially, as well as just mentally, because we're both just kind of completely drained and wiped just from the life itself. So, but anyways, guys, I love you all. I pray that you guys have yourselves an awesome day, and I will, God willing, have a video for you guys on Wednesday. Anyways, bye for now, guys.